are over 18. Now, this is a form called a 2257 form. And a 2257 form is a form that has existed already within the adult industry. It exists. The Adult Industry Union knows it exists. And basically, it just signifies that a person is real and over 18 and consents to being filmed or photographed. OnlyFans could implement this and be within the law. They are just too lazy or cheap to do it. They did not want to go back, I imagine, and have their creators fill these forms out because it would have cost them money. Or, again, they just didn't want to do it. I don't know why. But it's not as complicated as they were making it out to be. So, second, they basically had a report out in the BBC about 2 months ago that revealed how easily it was to post under 18 years old on OnlyFans. OnlyFans basically denied, never came out with any kind of forceful statement on this report by the BBC. They basically just said, oh, well, that's just, the past, and it's random, and, that's just not right. But they never, again, their whole PR department obviously is the equivalent of the Dear Sex Workers tweet. That's their PR department. So you can imagine that there's nobody home there to actually forcefully respond. Now, what OnlyFans could have done at this time was to have come out with an actual forceful response about how concerned they were about this. That the BBC, and the BBC is a very well-respected news organization. This isn't a small one. It went right to the first page when you searched OnlyFans for about 2 or 3 weeks. I was surprised it didn't get more attention. But OnlyFans basically just hoped this was going to kind of go under the rug and swept right under there. But here's the thing. When you do that, they're going to keep digging. So what happened is that the BBC, number 3, the BBC was about to release a second article saying that OnlyFans allowed creators to break the rules of their own site if they were big enough, which means that they have these settings, what you can and cannot do in your terms of service, what you can and cannot post. The BBC was going to release an article this week alleging that there was even more problems with how OnlyFans posted things and allowed things to be posted. And people had many theories that this was timed out at the same time so that this BBC article couldn't further confirm what was going on. Now, again, I'm just stating these things. I have an opinion, but I'm stating them. There's no way to know why these things might have happened, but this is just more ways that they're betraying their creators. So, number 4, they let everyone find out on the news that they had lost their livelihoods overnight. And that, in turn, caused a panic. Now, where did this come from? That's the question. Like, Bloomberg always seemed to know something, which is really interesting. Right around the time, and everyone knows that OnlyFans have been trying to get valuation, and they've been trying to get funds and investors. And it's really interesting that Bloomberg, which is, if you're not familiar with, a leading investment type business and news organization, they always seem to know. Bloomberg always seems to know. So Bloomberg was pretty much the source of this, and then other news, articles picked this up, which just splashed across Twitter. But OnlyFans didn't release a statement or release the email before the news article went out. Who was leaking this information out to Bloomberg? Were they leaking it out to Bloomberg on purpose so they could basically then say, well, see, Bloomberg has reported that it has to do with credit card companies and therefore we have to take this action, and hoping that somehow the news was going to cover their butt? I don't know. Again, I'm just saying it makes no sense. And that also was just highly disrespectful to people who have, again, put so many hundreds or thousands of hours of work into their platform that basically they get the news secondhand. And also, it created a 24-hour maelstrom of just confusion, panic, and people being very upset and losing trust for OnlyFans. And this is even better. Number 5, they instructed the staff to lie and deny the news reports to creators. Now, I can't tell you that they instructed them directly, but the staff was not either updated or they were just blindly ignorant. But the thing is that people received email responses back from OnlyFans stating OnlyFans would never ban adult content on their site. And there's screenshots of this within that Thursday. So if they didn't instruct the staff to lie, they didn't at least instruct them to tell the truth. I don't know what happened there, but I do know, again, what the heck? Like, why would you do that? Like, get some, and this is, by the way, this is a company that wants to be possibly a publicly traded stock. This is a company that wants legitimacy. This is a company that can't handle basically a PR crisis, can't manage to inform their creators correctly about changes to terms of service that would affect 90+% of creators. It just, again, it's either on purpose or it's just ridiculous negligence. So number 6, as I've mentioned, they have time and time again, I've mentioned this and had a whole episode about it. They have been horrible at preventing content from being stolen on their site. Horrible. I have talked about it. I have showed basic steps that could have been taken along the way to just safeguard content. These are all things that have been being done by tiny, small companies in comparison to what OnlyFans has grown into. They have had these protections in place for years to prevent all the content from being stolen and put out. The only reason, again, as I stated earlier, that you would allow all this content to go out everywhere is because it is free marketing for you and part of your marketing strategy. That is the only reason I feel that a company would do that. The next company that everyone jumps to, the next company for content creators, the question is going to be, are you protecting our content? And the answer is going to be, yes, of course, because otherwise, what's the point? Why are you posting on there? Why are people going to pay for it? So the only reason that I can really wrap my brain around is that it was part of the marketing strategy to leak out the content and make sure that other people were leaking out the content, because then people would be like, oh, I need to go check that person's OnlyFans out. That's my theory, and it might be wrong, but that's why I think that they never, ever have really taken protecting content seriously. All right, and then number 7, they never promoted adult content creators, despite those creators giving them billions in free advertising. So this is just known, and I think a lot of people didn't realize it until this particular crisis, when people jumped on to Instagram and saw a stylist, and is pretty famous, the stylist basically had said that she was showing parts of herself on OnlyFans she couldn't show anywhere else, which is just this huge irony. But that's the post, and everyone just noticed, oh my gosh, I went on, the 1.6 million follower Instagram, and it's just all bodybuilders and stylists and cooks and just random stuff. None of the things that OnlyFans is known for at all. So basically, they're not permitting. There should be no reason that I've had to create this podcast. There should be no reason that I've had to create 20 plus instructional blogs on how to do fan site marketing better, how to create, your OnlyFans, all this kind of stuff. This is a vacuum, a hole. And that hole should have been filled by a company that's getting $1 billion from creators to help them grow. That never happened. There was never an intent by OnlyFans to help any creators grow other than the most basic information. Basically, if you wrote OnlyFans and you said, how can I promote my OnlyFans? You'd get like a carbon copy back. You should promote on Twitter. That was basically like, you want to put your information, I've seen these, in your social media links so that you can be found. Like, that's the extent. They had a blog. The blog wrote a promotion piece like a year ago that was still the one that was showing up. This is just, they had no support. No one has had support in any way all this time. And it was working, so they just kept doing it. But why? So the next company that comes along, they're going to want to build out marketing strategies so that they can grow and that their creators can grow. But OnlyFans was insistent upon just promoting people on their platforms. And it was ironic too, because their platforms would grow so much more if they'd actually promoted what they actually did. So if you have 700,000 people on their Twitter, right, following their Twitter, they'd have millions of people following their Twitter if they actually were promoting the people, the creators that everyone liked. I mean, there are creators with more people following them than OnlyFans on Twitter, not, people just in the top, 1.5% might have higher. Again, all part of a strategy. All right, so number 8, they created their own downfall with an attempt to get financing and go public. Okay, they can't even get through a look by the BBC. Can you imagine if you were going to go through FCC regulators? They couldn't even make it through news reports, and they obviously were hiding from these news reports, but they're going to go through regulations to become a public stock and to do an IPO. It just blows my mind. So when you start to do stuff like that, and if we all notice when this all came to head, it all came to head because of greed, because they wanted to go and get more money. As I pointed out in my blog about the future of OnlyFans, when you own, basically, if you were to do an IPO and you become a publicly traded company, you can borrow as much money as you want to off of your own stock and never pay taxes off of it. This is a huge windfall for people. So you basically can have a certain amount of stock, and then you can then basically borrow from it. And whatever you're getting is tax-free. There's 100 different benefits, or probably more, to this concept of becoming a publicly traded stock, because then you can just milk it. And you can just make more and more money. So the goal was to make more and more money off the backs of hardworking content creators that you don't acknowledge at all that even exist. Amazing. So this is what started it. The need to go and try to get funding from whatever types of investors they were looking to get. This is what started it. All right, number 9. The release of the pathetically pandering sex work is work hashtag. I can't really get over it, to be honest with you. The first time that you acknowledge that people exist and are on your site, you then throw a hashtag on there as if everything's just going to be okay. We've done nothing for you all this time. We've never promoted you. We've never built educational areas for you to learn how to promote your OnlyFans better. We've never opened any of those promotion spaces that basically people were following OnlyFans because of the creators are on there, but they weren't actually going to promote any of those people. But we're going to throw out this hashtag and act like it's all going to be okay now. It's all going to be okay with nothing else. So it's just amazing. Like, they could have been a company that spent some of their money doing some of the stuff that I've been doing the last year, setting up information guides, blogs, everything to try to help creators, things I can't do. I can't get in front of the spaces that